Hey, welcome to Fitzdog Radio. I am just back from the Bayou. You might hear a little twang. I picked up a twang when I was down there. Here's the thing about the New Orleans accent. And I've always given shit to certain actors for playing a bad Louisiana accent. And then you go there and you talk to some people that are really from there. And you're like, oh, I owe those actors an apology. This is actually how they talk. This is crazy. It is the most unique, eclectic, weirdo accent. And I studied French, and I went to a restaurant last night in Lafayette. You have to say Lafayette when you're there. If you're in New Orleans, you say Lafayette. And I went to this very cool just crazy. I walked out of the hotel and I was like, I'm just going to walk and find some food. And I came across this place that was called Bon Temps, which is French for good time. And I walk in and man, was it a bon temps. There was a blues band playing and the guy on bass had no forearms. He just had hands attached to his forearms. And his hands didn't fully work. But keep this in mind. The band was fucking amazing. They were so goddamn good. They were playing like Zydeco and they were playing blues and they were playing jazz. And then once in a while they threw in Stand By Me. And they were all over the place. But this bass player was driving it with no forearms, and he only played with his right hand. He only played with his pinky. That was the only functioning finger on his right hand. His left hand, he only used his thumb and his pinky. So he was reaching around the neck of the bass with his thumb. It was insane. And the two guitar players were guys in their deep into their 70s that were trading guitar leads back and forth, playing some mean ass. Like you look at that and you go like, oh, this is where Keith Richards learned it. He learned it from this kind of blues, some Delta fucking blues. And then there was a guy playing harmonica, the mouth harp. He was barefoot. He was this young, really good looking black guy with a big afro. And he was just groovy. And his boyfriend was sitting at the bar and he was kind of, I'm not saying he was hitting on me, but he was talking to me, which was weird because if I'm the harmonica player, I don't want my boyfriend talking. Granted, maybe I'm that old that I'm not considered a threat, but I considered myself a distraction to the harmonica player that his boyfriend was talking to me while he was playing. I felt he should have respected him and shut the fuck up and just listened. And so I kind of ignored the boyfriend after a while, but I got some scrimp right out of the goddamn lake. You drive from New Orleans to Lafayette. I'm not exaggerating. You're driving over a bridge, one single bridge over a lake for about a half an hour coming outside of New Orleans. You are just hovering above swampland. And the guy that drove me was like, once in a while he'd be like, oh, you see that alligator? I'm like, no, did you see the tractor trailer in front of us? Why are you looking for alligators? But they were there. And you feel in danger when you're in that part of the world, whether it's snakes or alligators or racists. I was walking down that dark street before I found Bon Temps, and I'm telling you something, I was nervous. I'll walk through any city. I'll walk through the Tenderloin in San Francisco with people walking out of heroin clinics. What do they call them? Not meth clinics. Meth? Whatever they're called. Whatever they take to get off it. And it doesn't bother me. I'll walk through the worst parts of New York City. No problem. Don't make me again walk down a dark street in Louisiana at night. It was creepy. But this room in Lafayette was really groovy. It was like this, just people packed in. We packed the place. I had no idea we get that many people. And they were big comedy fans. They all listen to the podcast, and they were really nice. And the guy that runs it does an amazing job. It's called the Club 337, and they get killer lineups. They get Kyle Kinane was just there, and Emo Phillips, and Maria Bamford is coming out, I think, next weekend. And so they hook it up with the gig in New Orleans. I did the Howlin' Wolf Theater it's kind of like a rock club, famous old rock club where they were telling me. Ray Charles has played there. Parliament just played there all summer. They played a bunch of dates. Like all the big names come through. Like amazing, and very cool setup. And people just great community of people. They couldn't have been nicer. I kind of fell in love with New Orleans. I'd only spent 1 or 2 nights there in my life before, and I felt like I need to go back. But I need to bring Aaron. Because I felt lonely. Walking down Bourbon Street as a sober, lonely man is not the great. It's not the way you should just not go. And I'm surrounded by, and I talked about this on Sunday Papers a little bit, but I felt like most of the people I saw looked like the people that had been thrown out of my Late Show Friday for being drunk. All of them over the last 10 years. Like they'd gathered them all together and marched them down Bourbon Street in flip-flops. And bad T-shirts and flip-flops with toenails that are way too long and yellow and dry. And so it's very difficult to eat in a restaurant with people wearing these flip-flops. I went to there was a cool cigar shop where they were rolling from scratch. You got to see them roll it. And I bought one of those, smoked a nice stick walking down. Then I went to the Frenchman Street, walked down that. Bought some stuff. It was fun. The Bayou. I'm all about the Bayou. Flew back, and I had a drunk woman on my flight, which was crazy because my flight left at 9 o'clock in the morning, and this woman was so shit-faced. It was first class, and she just kept screaming, I've never been in first class before, the entire flight. And then she was moving, there were seats open, so she sat next to me for a while and started telling me about how cute the gap in my teeth was. And then she sat next to this other guy and asked him if she could, if he would play cards with her, and he just put on his headphones, like literally while she was talking, he just put on his headphones. But that's it. That's how you leave New Orleans, drunk, just like you showed up. So I'm not going to talk a lot because I did a great interview with TJ Miller that went long because I don't like to keep my guests past an hour because I don't want to, I don't want to waste their time. People are on schedules. He's a big star. And so we talked for a long time, so I'm going to keep this short. We had a blast. I fucking love TJ. He's one of my favorite guests. And somebody mentioned to me, somebody sent me on social media and they said, you should read the Reddit sub post on Joe Rogan of your appearance last week. I went on Rogan last week, and I do not go to Reddit because I feel like there's a lot of toxicity on Reddit, and I don't choose to see it. I don't need to. And he goes, and the guy wrote just to say, he goes, I read these Reddit posts every day, and all they do is shit on the guests, shit on Joe, shit on everything. He goes, there was not a single bad comment about you on Rogan. And I went to the post, and there was a shitload of posts, and they were all positive. And it kind of, I hate to say it, it made me feel really good because I shouldn't be allowed to feel good about that if I'm not allowing myself to also feel bad about bad comments. But I think I got in and out. I didn't dwell. I didn't start searching other Greg Fitzsimmons posts on Reddit because there's some haters on there for sure. So anyway, let's get to it. Dates coming up this weekend, Chicago. I've been looking forward to this for a while. The Den Theater coming back. It's a very cool theater in Chicago. October 15th, I'll be there. Be there with the wife and the son. They're coming out. Owen's going to bring his friends from college down to see Dad. Dad's a little nervous, doesn't want to seem like a failure in front of his son. But then again, I'm paying for his fucking college, so how could I be a failure? But I also want to kill. So it's going to be a good show. San Francisco Punchline November 3rd to the 5th, and then Tampa Side Splitters November 17th through 19th. Also dates coming up in Oklahoma City and Fort Worth, Texas. Go to Fitzdog.com. Get all your ticket needs met easily. And also, if you got, let's talk a little bit about, this is a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. If you get stuck focusing on problems instead of solutions, then it's time to examine that a little bit. You need to think about how your brain is a muscle that can be trained with not as much effort as you would think. You have to find solutions, and therapy. In particular, this online therapy I've found to be very effective. I've been using it for a couple years now. BetterHelp are the people I'm talking about. The people there, they're problem solvers. They'll help you get to your goals. And the woman that I've been dealing with has helped me use cognitive behavioral therapy, which I highly recommend. None of this like talking about childhood bullshit. I'm done with that. I want to talk about what are my thoughts right now, how can I stop the negative ones, and how can I create positive ones that help me reach my goals. And that's what CBD does. And I've had great experience with it with BetterHelp.com. I was feeling depression. I was feeling anxiety. And, you still feel that. I still feel that, but not to the degree that I did before. I'm functioning way better than I have in a long time. So if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient. It's affordable. It's cheaper than traditional therapy. You can get matched with a therapist. You fill out this survey, and it allows them to place you with somebody who has that expertise, so they're custom made for you. If you don't like them, you can switch therapists. No problem. When you want to get a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/Fitzdog today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/Fitzdog. Do it. You'll thank me later. Many people do. Many people write to me and they thank me for hooking them up with BetterHelp. My guest today is a guy who's got a new special out called Dear Jonah that I really liked. He's getting a lot of views on YouTube with it. He's had specials in the past on HBO, Comedy Central. You know him from Deadpool and Deadpool 2. He was in a Spielberg movie. I can't remember what it was called, but he was in a Steven Spielberg movie. I used to do Chelsea Lately with him all the time, and it was always a blast hanging out with him. And I've known him for years. He's a guy that I've known from the trenches of stand-up, and I've been always happy for success. He was in Silicon Valley, had a great run in Silicon Valley, and he's also been in She's Out of My League, Cloverfield, Get Him to the Greek, How to Train Your Dragon, Gulliver's Travels, Yogi Bear, Our Idiot Brother, Rock of Ages, Transformers. It goes on and on. He needs no introduction, even though I've given him one here because I love him. Here's my guest, TJ Miller. Welcome to Fitzdog Studios. It is
in what appears to be the inside of a death trap. We're just Fitzdog in an abandoned school with trash bags for window panes.
We don't need insulation. We've got asbestos.
Yeah, exactly.
On all four walls.
It's just really, really special what you've done here, man.
Do you like it?
I think it's great. You've got something that is really, a venue, an environment, a location to be proud of when the Lyft driver who doesn't speak any English, as he drops you off and you open the door to get out, he turns to you and goes, "Hey, be careful." And that's it. That's the only English he knows, just in case.
Did he cross himself?
No, he crossed me. And if he ever does again, you don't want to cross me.
You don't want to cross DJ Miller.
Yeah, it's really terrifying, the building that you're in. I truly think so.
Yeah, there's no reason it should still be standing.
Yeah.
It's
dangerous. It's a dangerous place. And you're across from a playground. This is what I imagined you. And just a decrepit, nearly dilapidated building.
Leering at a playground.
Just looking over there and saying, who's going to get Fitzdog today? Which means you just go over there and insult one of the kids.
No, I'm not allowed over there.
Dunkaroos. Yeah, you got to stay.
I had a tape measure.
That's why you had to take this particular office, as it was just a foot over the 150 line. If I can just get.
Can I hit a 7-iron over there? I'm safe. I can't reach with a 7-iron.
It's pretty great, but I'm so glad to be back on the program.
You're one of my favorite guests I've ever had. We've had some great times on this podcast. I don't know if we'll reach that threshold today. You can only hope.
Well, the only thing we've got going for us is those 3 Emmys. Oh, no, sorry. 2 Emmys and a participation trophy. And if I know anything about the luck that comes with those statuettes, 2 of them metal, the other plastic. What's that participation trophy say? Almost. There it is.
Good hustle.
Almost.
I got the good hustle trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you want to be known for. When I die, you know what I have my headstone to say? He tried.
Yeah, he hustled. He really hustled.
That's it.
Nothing beneath it. No achievement.
Yeah.
He really hustled.
Right.
Never quite got anything going, but boy, every day he was hustling.
Yeah. That's a fine line in this business, as wanting to be seen as a good quality, solid comic.
Right.
And a guy who's just fucking spinning his wheels. Like, when we're off air, we can name a few people that have managed to actually have careers without really being funny.
Yeah, that's very true. And some of them will, I don't know. I think part of it too, though, is some of them will tap into I don't know, just some kind of it's a tradesman. They're just like a blacksmith who understood how to create a joke.
Right.
And they'll just do those. And then some of them just kill and do not care about the integrity of their material. I saw something. I wanted to talk to you about this. In fact, as it was happening, I was thinking about you because I saw a guy in earnest, in Miami, Florida, fuck the stool.
Yeah.
So it was real. I
still happening.
I heard about it and I was laughing.
Sure.
People laugh. But it was this guy who was on a podcast network and he was a stand-up and in the scene. I invited him to do a set. And he did a guest set and he kept it really tight. But I think for about 2 of the 5 minutes, he was just humping the stool without any remorse or anything.
Yeah.
Doing the thing where you keep humping and you look behind you to talk to the audience.
Right.
Have you seen a lot of comics do that in earnest?
I saw Louie C.K. do it.
Really?
Not too long ago. But it was funny. So I'm gonna counter that with, you can fuck a stool if you do it right. I mean, look, in the 80s, stools had cum stains on them. Stools got fucked.
Oh my God! Chairs were safe. Chairs were safe. Stools were fucked.
Stools were fucked.
Fitzdog style.
Female comics, they'd turn the stool upside down and they'd fuck it.
It didn't matter. 4 of them get on stage at once. If it's an improv group, I'll forward hop on.
Yeah.
Take a leg, ladies. Let's get this show started.
That was the name of the improv group.
Yeah.
Take a leg, ladies.
Take a leg, ladies. Take a knee, fellas. Take a leg, ladies. I think that I thought it because I was like, I wonder what your face would be seeing this guy, but it sounds like you've seen it before.
I've seen it done well. It's just like when people go like, oh my God, he's doing airplane jokes. Yeah. Airplanes are flying metal that you sit in, and you put your life in jeopardy while you go from an extremely far distance in a short period. It's a social phenomenon.
Totally
you're sitting
ridiculous.
an inch from a person on either side that you've never met for 5 hours and will not talk. I mean, it's rife with premise.
Well, anytime anybody would say that, I would say Ellen DeGeneres. I mean,
with the
I still
seat back,
remember
going
the
back.
seat back. And then the funniest thing for me, and I love her. It's so funny. I would tell her that when I saw her.
Yeah.
I would say, like, you're my favorite stand-up. Because she really is one of my absolute favorites. And I would
That's
quote,
what those Emmys are for.
I would quote
wrote
her,
on the show.
I would quote her bits, and she wouldn't really remember them.
Really?
Because it was so long ago.
Wow.
She made that really clear. She's like, I don't remember even, what was that on? My like television special or what? But the airplane one that I love is she goes, and then they give you the little, the chickens. You can probably do an actual impression. They give you the chicken, and it's got grill marks across it. Little grill marks. Like, what do they think? We're in the back, I think there's a cook in the back. Hey, Charlie, throw another one on. I got two more. Throw 2 more on the grill, Charlie.
3 all day, Charlie.
He's like, order up. Yeah, 3 all day. It's so funny. 3 all day, Charlie. That was another improv group. I did some real stool and grill fucking.
Yeah, no, she was a great comic, and that's why when I got a chance to write for her, I jumped at it, thinking it would be a cool, edgy show, because she was kind of there was an edge to her when she was coming up.
For sure.
That
and
obviously she had to, and coming out was big, but man, she's crazy. She's crazy.
She is. When did you leave the show?
2003. I started it in 2000, and I left in 2003.
3 Emmys right in a row?
4 Emmys. I sent one to my mom. My mom's got one.
I heard that she sold it, or at least it was on eBay. I put a bid on it, but I couldn't get it.
What were they looking for? What are they asking?
She said $7 or worst offer. And then underneath it said, must pick up immediately after purchase. I think it all said, I'll pay the sales tax. With all exclamation, all caps, exclamation marks. I will pay your sales tax. So I don't know what she was trying to get rid of.
There's also a box of his comedy notebooks. You can just take those. I rifle through them. It's mostly airplane premises.
Yeah, one and all. I was talking. So my buddy, I'm writing this movie.
Oh boy.
And as you take the sip of the coffee, it's perfect. Oh boy. Oh boy, I gotta get him out of the studio. And the story's pretty funny. And I'll relate it back to the notebooks, but I was in an elevator because it's what you just did. So my wife, Kate had this really close friend, was in the wedding, everything. And her husband is this guy named Jay. And he was kind of when your wife has a friend and her husband is like cool, but you don't really want it. That doesn't mean you guys should be friends or anything like that. And the girls would always say to us, like, you guys should find something to work on. You should find something to work on. And he'd approach me about something. He writes rock operas. He's a composer.
He writes rock operas?
Yeah, he's a composer.
Fucking in.
Yeah, well, he kind of is super stoner guy. He dresses really, really kind of hip and funny.
Yeah.
But also stupid. Like
Brooklyn?
More funny. Yes, he lived in Brooklyn, but then now he's upstate New York. He's one of those guys.
Oh, that's real Brooklyn
farm.
now.
Now he's got chickens. Yeah. Right. That's the most Brooklyn you can be.
Yeah.
Is getting the fuck out of the borough and
Putnam
north.
County, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Croton upon Harmon on the Hudson. Yeah. Just a bunch of fucking hyphens up there. Yeah. TJ, get him now. Yeah. And so, I thought that's one thing about him. He's really funny.
Yeah.
So they kept saying, and then he, and I kind of was like, okay, but we don't do the same, thing. And so And then one day we're in our actual elevator, and the four of us, as we're going up, his wife Maddie says, Jay, you should tell TJ about your idea for a movie. And I was like, oh shit.
At least you're in an elevator. You get the elevator pitch.
Exactly. But that's kind of what's so funny about it, because in my mind, I'm thinking, there goes 20 minutes of my life. I mean, this guy's going to tell me this, and I got to explain to him how it's amazing and this is good. But I don't want to give notes on a movie idea. And he kind of reluctantly was like, well, yeah, well, it's a Christmas movie. And I was like, oh, shit. I mean, that's going to be 45. There's no good Christmas movies. Yeah. That's why they can't make any of them. There's only been 5 or something like that.
Die Hard, Elf.
I mean, it's Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's kind of, well, Home Alone. We always forget Home Alone because it's unequivocally the best.
Yeah.
And for the whole family, that's the one, you know? And so then he tells me the idea for this Christmas story, this Christmas movie. And I was like, that's the greatest fucking idea I've ever heard in my life. That's fucking unbelievable. That is beyond amazing. And I was just, it was so crazy to hear this. It's the greatest idea for a Christmas movie. I just couldn't believe he had thought of this. And at the time, I'm kind of going, well, that's great for you, but I don't have anybody to pitch it to. There's just no reason. First of all, because I've already been in a Christmas movie. So I was in Office Christmas Party, the first R-rated
Jennifer
Christmas
Aniston.
film. Jennifer Aniston, Jason Bateman, and like a host Rob Corddry, all these people that we love. And so I kind of was like, that's amazing, but I can't do anything with it, you know? So then I'm editing this special, the Dear Jonah special, which we got to talk about because I really want to hear what you think about it. And it's coincidentally at the Russo Brothers, the production house called Agbo.
Uh-huh.
And the first work I did in Hollywood was I was in a show called Carpoolers, which was Bruce
one
McCullough.
Season on Fox.
One season, Bruce McCullough was on ABC, but the Russo Brothers were directing it. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
We,
Agree to disagree.
I think...
it's not like we can check.
I can't. It's not like we can check. I would love if that was the Fitz... You know what? That's a Fitzdog. If you Fitzdog somebody, sometimes it's like before they can look it up online and be like, let's agree to disagree. Okay? Louisiana still has a king. We can't look it up. You always say that. We can't look it up.
Right.
So let's agree to disagree.
Right.
And then when they say, but we can't, you're like, you got Fitzdog.
You just got Fitzdog.
Yeah. You got to make sure the door isn't locked.
Right.
Otherwise, that's a...
And it can't be something like global warming where there's two legitimate sides to it.
Yeah, like that it's fake, just like lynchings, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm at the Agbo Studios, and now the Russos, think about how our careers have gone. They went from this carpool just canceled ABC sitcom, and both of us did. They went to $1 billion in the box office, Avengers, Captain America, that stuff, right? And now Gray Man. And I kind of went all the way to starring in a Christmas movie,
Right.
And so it's very fun. I was in Yogi Bear 3D, and they did like You, Me, and Dupree, all that kind of stuff, And so, that's pretty amazing. They're huge directors. I became sort of a movie star. And then, and now, I thought, God, those guys are so great. And it's so weird that I got to say hi to them, and talk through it with them. So then one day I'm working there and I go to my director who works there, said, so what are the Russo brothers doing right now? And he's like, well, they're finishing up, they're premiering Gray Man in almost 3 weeks. So they're really focused on that. And then Citadel is this Amazon, and it's been a disaster. They're reshooting it, and so you've got all that. And then they're looking for a Christmas movie, like an idea for a Christmas movie. And I was like, what?
You got an erection.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah. And it hit me in the head.
Yeah.
Not my erection, but just the idea of it. So the idea of getting an erection. And so you're right. We didn't reach that threshold this time, but it's been fun.
No. The erection's coming.
So I couldn't believe it. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, well, they really want to make a Christmas movie. They just can't come up with a good idea for one.
Yeah.
In fact, they have a writer's room with Christmas decorations all over it. And they had a big whole thing on the retreat asking everybody what their favorite Christmas movie was. And I was like, I have the greatest fucking idea for a Christmas movie in the world. It's my buddy's idea. So then 2 days later, Anthony Russo shows up to the production offices. And I go to say hello, and I go in there and we sit down and talk for like an hour and a half, just catching up on everything. He was so cool. He kind of the whole time was like, and in fact, to tell you the truth, because we're on this show together, he was the first, or he was one of the first guys, or I think the best. He was the best at sort of acknowledging what happened with this kind of stalker, and then this kind of false allegation that, you know, she kind of re-entered our life trying to kind of destroy us again. And we know the whole backstory of it, but he was really good at kind of acknowledging it, not really saying anything about it, but kind of being like, yeah, guilty until proven innocent doesn't really work. I'm not going to sit here and kind of just act like you're this evil monster. I know you. I've worked with you.
Yeah.
I know you as a kid. You know, he knew me when I was 27.
Yeah.
And so at the end of that meeting, I kind of was like, at the end of the meeting, I was like, so I heard you guys are looking for a Christmas movie. And he kind of went like, yeah, actually we are. And I said, I have the greatest fucking idea for a Christmas movie. It's not my idea, it's my buddy's, but I'd love to pitch it to you. And I kind of gave him a soft pitch. See, you're good in Hollywood. People ask me about it. It's like you want to do a soft pitch where you don't give anything away.
Sure.
So you're giving him almost everything but the log line.
Yeah.
So it's the precursor to an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to circumvent the elevator pitch because they want to hear the full pitch now. So I told him, I said, you know, we'd like to go work on it. He said, yeah, you know, with your sensibility, that would be really funny. You could tell he never had even thought of such a thing, but he was like psyched on it. He said, yeah, come to Atlanta and pitch us. I was like, that'd be great. I can cancel a weekend of work. Because we see our family on, you know, it's kind of part of the contract on the weekends. So during the week would be great. And I was so excited. So then I called this guy, Jay, and that's probably the weirdest phone call he's ever gotten in his life. I mean, imagine this guy's reality when TJ Miller calls him and is like, hey, the Russo brothers want to hear that idea that you had for a movie.
Yeah.
Because they want to make it.
Right.
It just must have blown his dick right out of his own asshole.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's so
But
insane.
that's how it always happens. I mean, the whole going through the system of like, first of all, try to get somebody attached to your project by going through their agent. Good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Try to get your script read around Hollywood by going through an agent.
Your agent try and give it to somebody's agent. You're absolutely
the only way it happens is in elevators, in gyms, in fucking...
And through relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and people always say, well, in Hollywood, it's who you know. I'm like, well, you meet who you know because of how talented you are.
Exactly.
And your style.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were talking about how Mark Maron isn't a huge fan of my stand-up comedy, but I think you and I have similar-ish sensibilities, and so we get along really well, and now I'm on your cool radio show instead of what the fuck has become now. I don't know. I don't listen to it. But there's, so that's kind of it. It's like I got in that thing because Bruce McCullough, you know, they saw me and they're like, that guy's really weird and really funny. And I'm sure he can improv. And then I go and so, yeah, it's very strange, all the connections, and it goes on and on. I mean, it's so fun that like.
So did you go to Atlanta?
So instead of going to Atlanta, they said, come to Atlanta and we'll have the other two people on Zoom, or you can go to all three of them. And we prepared the pitch, and I pitched it. You know, I'm a comic, so I pitched it to like, I think maybe 100 people.
No shit.
So I did pitch crawls in New York, which was one of my favorite things to do, which is where you want to do it around 5 or 3 when they're just about to switch but you just go on a street. I decided 8th Avenue I thought would be good. And you just get on a street and you go into a bar, pitch it to whoever's the bartender, whoever's at the bar, busboys, everything. And
you mean you gather them around?
Absolutely. And then once you're done, you finish your beer, tip really well, and just walk
You don't get their feedback.
Walk 10 steps. Absolutely, you get their
feedback. Okay, yeah.
And you ask them questions.
Okay.
What did you think about this? What did you...
Yeah.
Because that's how you sort of help shape the pitch.
Yeah.
And then he and I got it. It was too long of a pitch because it really should only be like 15 minutes. Uh-huh. But we do it together. So it really was a performance. And it's me. So I'm breaking out of the pitch, jumping up and acting out scenes and doing... Because the idea is... I can say it here. So it's like, I think it's great. And we read this thing about The Rock. Because what we did was we pitched it in LA to them. And I fucking killed.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments. It was such a good pitch that at one point I had to hold for laughs. I
love it.
I was like, you're going to step on your own laughs if you don't chill the fuck out.
Well, that's the difference between a writer pitching something and because I've been on, when I first came out here, I had gotten a deal from the Montreal Comedy Festival, New Faces, and they set me up with a writer.
I never got any of that.
And no?
No.
And so I would go to pitch meetings and I just by default thought he's the Hollywood guy. And he would sit there with a notebook and he would mumble out an outline that was all story based. It was all about, and in episode 8, and I'm sitting there going like, this is fucking crazy. So the next meeting, I just started the meeting by talking about my ride on the 405, getting fucking laughs.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then I realized, like, you sell a show by, if they viscerally, physically emit laughter, you've got a really good chance of selling the show.
And when I was in that moment of holding for laughter, then it clicked in my mind that I was like, this is going well. This is going so well that I think we're going to sell this movie. And Jason did a really good job. He kind of would handle certain, like, opening shot or the, exterior, this. He wouldn't
color
say that.
And the play-by-play guy.
And telling you where it's happening. And so we just killed so hard, and we did this thing I think is really important. We brought in Christmas cookies, and I was going to I was trying to get them made.
Yeah.
But I found out, this is so weird and hilarious, this is how I found it out, that no one can rush making any types of cookies because they don't make them in Hollywood or any of these northern whatever, not even in the Valley, because everybody sources their cookies from the Mexicans downtown. So I was like, can you do a rush job? And they're like, no, we need at least 2 weeks. And as I called, finally, people kind of were like, we get our cookies from downtown. It was so funny.
Hilarious.
So what I did, which I thought was perfect, it was better, is I went and I got icing. Okay, and bought just regular cookies that were shaped like pineapples, and then we decorated all of them.
Yeah.
So they were like the ugliest looking Christmas cookies, which was great. So we brought those in.
Did you wear the Christmas sweaters?
No, because I thought that would be a little hack. They would have expected that.
Yeah.
So we got in the Christmas. I think that's always important to do that, to just do something that's like funny from the get go. Just like you said, you got your intro. You need an opening joke.
Yeah.
Right. You need an opening something.
It's like your mask on your stand-up special.
Yeah, you got to have something early on that is like, boom, gets you. And so the pitch went amazing, and then they said, we want to set up a meeting after this. We got to run market analytics. And that kind of scares. So I was really in the throes of an existential crisis for like 3 weeks, maybe even a month, of like, are they not going to let me start? Because it's like a $200 million movie that we expected the Russo brothers were going to. It is a high concept idea.
$200 million?
Yeah. It's really, really.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really something. And so the Russo brothers, I was afraid the Russos wouldn't want to direct it, that they wouldn't want to do that of an appropriate budget, so they wouldn't want to shoot it for a lower budget, and finally that they wouldn't let me star in it. That they'd be like, you've got some reputation, and that's where we don't think that you can open a movie without Jennifer Aniston and Jason Bateman.
Yeah. Because
I've starred in movies. Office Christmas Party, I'm the star of that movie.
Yeah.
And Spielberg was the one who was like, I think you can star in a movie, so here's what it is. And so I was so worried about that. And then we just had a meeting, and it turns out that the Russo brothers are not going to direct it. They want to find us a young director who's not a first-time director, but who they want to engender his talent, give him a shot. They want to do it for less of a budget, But the budget that they came in at was they're like, we ran the market analytics, which Office Christmas Party is one of the movies, one of the comps, you know?
Yep.
But it's a 2-quadrant, it's not 4-quadrant. And so they were like, so if you're willing to do it for $55 million, then come back and reimagine the movie. And that's what we think we can do it for. And, you know, the second they said that, me and Jay were like, well, maybe it doesn't start on the Macy's Day Parade. You know what I mean? We need smaller set pieces. You see it? We kind of quickly fired stuff off. And she said, oh, that's music to my ears. So now we're going to like go back and kind of pitch a cheaper version of that.
Is there music in the movie?
Office Christmas Party was $45 million. And
there
a lot of that went to Jennifer Aniston. She made $10 million for like 6 days of work or something.
Plus, there's your $12,000 that comes right out of the budget.
Yeah, the 12. I think I got to do the cool thing and ask for 18,000.
You think so?
Fuck it. It's my time.
Just tell them these cookies aren't cheap.
Yeah, these
are pineapple cookies.
Don't decorate themselves, okay? No, the cool thing is just to take back end. I think I would be like, I don't need to be paid,
right.
but I'll take a point on the back end.
Right.
Paid, of course, was like, well, it could be both. You know, you could get a little up front.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like you got to have money to live on.
Yeah, you got to make some money.
The pandemic just crushed us with regards to that. But I think really, really, you want to get behind it. But then at the end, she was sort of like, yeah, we got to fill out the rest of the cast. So it's kind of like, so you can star in it. It just has to be you, $55 million, and a different director.
Yeah.
And then they would need somebody. I have a sister in the movie, and I would need somebody kind of famous to do that. Maybe not a Scarlett Johansson, but like.
What about your sister?
My real sister?
Yeah.
It's funny. The movie is me and
Isn't
my
your sister an actress?
Estranged. She's a really funny comedian.
Yeah.
But she doesn't talk to me.
Oh.
She's become.
Oh, shit.
For whatever reason, she went from. Yeah, it's really a bummer. She doesn't talk to my other two sisters. So, yeah. But in the movie, I'm estranged from my sister. You know about Hollywood. Should I tell you the pitch? Can I tell you that?
I wouldn't say it on the show because I don't want to jinx it in any way. Yeah, tell me afterwards.
But it's anyway, so it's a great. It's really an exciting opportunity. It's such a great idea for a movie. And it's so funny to me that in the pitch, and I was so excited to do this. You know when you pitch and you've got, it's just like stand-up, and you've got like a part of the pitch that you just love, and it's so funny, and it's so funny, you know it's going to do well. And then there's always another part of a pitch where you're like, this doesn't really get a huge laugh, but I love it. I think it's so funny, and I'm going to keep it in, but it never gets a laugh. You know, it doesn't bomb, but it's kind of an aside that. So I have one of those.
Well, yeah, I mean, picture the Coen brothers pitching a movie. How many odd? I mean, some things are cinematic. Even though it's a comedy, you still need quirky moments, and I think that's an important part of the pitch. Not everything can get the laugh.
No, and everything should be enthralling and engaging.
Yeah,
you know, you want them to every moment of the pitch be like, "Whoa, wait a second, what?" And that's what we had them doing, is this thing after thing. They'd be like, what the fuck? Oh my God. If it's this, wow. Now that is so funny. Look, TJ he would be hilarious. Because I'm auditioning, as we're pitching this movie, I'm kind of auditioning to star in it.
Yeah.
So I had to make it both an audition and that's what I kept saying to him was $200 million movie. The pitch ends, and it's insane that we would ask them for that much money. And then on top of that, I'm also going to convince my work doesn't end because now I have to convince them that I should star in a $200 million movie. But I think what they're saying is, no, the Russo brothers aren't going to make this because they booked for 5 years and they're making $200 million films with like serious A-list actors. But they will produce a $55 million movie that you star in. So
I love it.
Star in that.
Yeah.
But you can't, because Office Christmas Party, $45 million. That's what I think we would try and shoot it for. Anyway, it was, it's totally awesome. But the thing that I thought worked out really, really interestingly, actually, I'll tell you that in a second. I do want to say the end of the pitch was so funny because I go, and if you are concerned about me starring as Santa Claus in a Christmas movie, look no further than on my resume when I starred in a Christmas movie as Santa Claus, because Office Christmas Party is that. And I thought, when could you ever say to somebody, if you're worried about me starring in this movie, I did one just like it. This is better and bigger.
They want comps. There's your comp. It's you or Artie Lang from Elf.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh my God, it's so funny. He's...
Who else played Santa? Ed Asner.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Also played... Billy Bob Thornton played Santa.
What was Ed Asner? When did he...
In Elf.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
He played the real Santa.
And then... let's see. Oh, yeah, he was great.
Bing Crosby wasn't on Miracle on 34th Street. Wasn't he Santa?
Yes, I think that sounds right. And then, but yeah, outside of that, not many people have like played Santa. They tried to do a dark film with Mel Gibson called Fat Man, where a kid, think about this pitch. A kid gets coal for Christmas, this very wealthy kid, and so he takes a hit out on Santa Claus.
That's great.
It's great, but it would never work as a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's too dark.
You got to put it out in July. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You got to counter program with that motherfucker. So anyway, we had this meeting.
And it's Mel Gibson, so he also puts a hit out on a Jew.
Yeah. God, I didn't think you were going to be this
Jesus.
anti-Semitic.
Well, you said it was dark. You said it was dark.
It was...
Wait, what's the notebook? You have notes for the podcast?
I put this down. Yeah.
No, I love it.
Stop starting at the Macy's Day Parade. You know, we started to think about the film and make it more about the characters. So I think the restriction of the budget actually is going to make the writing better.
Of course.
And Jay actually said that in the meeting, which I thought was great. And he's going to say that again for sure. So right before that meeting, I couldn't believe that it worked out like this. But the meeting was on the 28th, and I released my stand-up special. I released Dear Jonah.
September 22nd, I think
September
it was.
29th. So it would have been right around 24 hours or 30 hours after the meeting.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such an important thing in my life in terms of saying, look, Hollywood is so unpredictable, so fickle, so everything. We have a $1 billion idea. We know that. We're going to make it. It's going to be incredible. But there's always a chance that we won't. I always say from pitch to premiere, there's 1,000 ways that the movie cannot get made.
Including getting made and not getting released.
100%.
Yeah. Didn't like Catwoman or something not get released at all?
Yeah, Batwoman. Batgirl or something. Yeah. Maybe Cat.
And that was a big budget movie.
Yeah.
That was probably $100 million movie.
And so you got to be kind of, and then, which is even more. So you got to be careful about ever thinking that the movie is ever going to be seen by anybody.
No, it's like this podcast. Like, you and I are here now. We've done 32 minutes, but you could have a heart attack and die right now. And do I for 28 minutes just talk?
I think so. Now's the time to really air the grievances that you have about me. Just with a dead man next to you.
Look at him now. Yeah. Not so high energy now, are you? Right. Not so improvisational.
I enjoy less yelling immensely. I liked him better when he did yell. That's amazing. Whoa, and he's talking about erection. He's got rigor mortis over there.
Well, I've never seen anyone.
Yes, he's doing a callback to that earlier failed joke. Well, I feel stupid I didn't bring this up earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
But for me, so much of my life is that stand-up affords you so much power.
Yeah.
And that you're your own boss and it's
sure.
just about you. And how prolific you are and how much hustle you have. And so it was really nice to have that meeting, but to also know that the special is going to drop and that the special is really unique, that it's like actually
it's great.
Really
I saw it last night. I watched with my wife. We both loved it. And to be honest, like I have comics on who have specials and I always watch them, but I don't always get through the whole thing. But yours keeps you going because you've got set pieces. You've got bits that play out that you want to see the end of.
Yeah.
And then you just, there's always a sense when you're doing stand-up that you don't know what's going to happen next, but it's all in the moment.
Yeah.
It's all present. Like you honor whatever's happening in the room. And that's ultimately what happens is you have a guy in the front row who to some degree is intellectually disabled or at least very excited to see you.
My neuropsychologist, I go, it's hard to talk about it because everybody's so worried about, oh, that's ableist. You can't say spaz, all this stuff that's going on right now. And I go, but I think, he's developmentally retarded. He's stopped at and she goes, no, you can't. We call them intellectually deficient now. And I was like, what? That's awful. You're intellectually deficient.
That's terrible.
You're void of a lot and it's not getting better. You're not slow. Like, you've stopped. Right? He's a little slow. He's gone. He's a lot stopped.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I discover. And you'll appreciate this because I go to Nashville. We film 4 shows. And I said before we even got out there, look, second show Friday in Nashville, Tennessee, which is essentially a bachelorette party that they put a city inside of.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking circus.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then I'm just going to riff and we'll have that ancillary content for social media. And so I get ready for that. The first show didn't go great. The director's like, just do your set again. And I was like, that's just not how I work. So we've got 2 shows tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I get out there for this late show Friday rowdy disaster that I'm expecting. And suddenly they're the best audience. I know immediately, like within seconds. They're such a good audience that I'm like, TJ, stop thinking about that and do your bits well because this is the audience. And then this fucking guy starts heckling me from the front row.
Yeah.
And it's that drunk, how audience members will be so drunk that they forget there's other people in the room.
Yeah.
And they kind of think it's just you and them. And we're in his living room.
Well, that's part of that like, too is
they go like, they're like supportively heckling. They're
yeah. Right.
I do that.
Right.
And then later I'd keep talking. And then he'd be like, hilarious. It's true.
Right.
It's true what he's saying. And you're like, oh God. So then I said, well, I'm not going to be able to ignore this guy because I ignore him and I start talking to him. I ask him about his cargo pants and he has this very long, slow, strange response because he's developmentally disabled or whatever. You can't tell. Is he autistic? Is he Down syndrome? We don't know what it is. But
he's alone and he's drinking.
I thought that there was his family next to him.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't know that he was alone. But it was fascinating to suddenly see the entire audience like tense up. They were just like, what is TJ going to do?
Yeah.
Because I'm an insult comic as Ehrlich in Silicon Valley. I'm known for making fun of Deadpool and the way that he looks, all those sorts of things. And so I just said, I just want all of you to know that I am not going to make fun of him at all.
Yeah.
And it just broke the tension. There was this huge laugh and it wasn't funny. It was just breaking that tension. And then he interrupted me again. And so I incorporated him. And then I started to incorporate him more and more. And then he became sort of indelibly tied to the show. And so I involved him. He was in the closer. He has the funniest line in the whole. When I ask him, what's your favorite part of the show? He says the funniest possible thing he could.
Yeah.
And his timing is amazing.
Yeah.
He's like a blonde-haired bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it's like so good. And so after the show, I just walked off stage and went into the green room, and I'm like, I think that's the special. And right away, the director runs around, and he goes, I'm gonna make a pitch for that to be the special. And Kate was like, that's it, man. That's the special. Yeah. So we took that, what I thought was gonna be the worst show, made it the foundation, actually made it easier because there's some stuff we couldn't cut, and then we cherry picked others and built it, and then it came in an hour 10. At first, and then after just sitting with it and showing it to people and sitting with it, it's like 45 minutes, a little over 45 minutes. And I think that's really important because what we started to realize is sometimes during the special, we'd be like, it's a lot of TJ. Where's Jonah? Like there was that feeling. Nick Vatterott, an incredible comedian. He do you know him? He's so funny. He writes for Bill Maher. He has a special.
Nick Vatterott?
Nick Vatterott. Vatterott. He has a special called Disingenuous, which is really amazing because it's like a short film. Also, it's all kinds of great stuff. But this, I realized, was about that show and then showing people the stand-up that I needed to show them in there. It's so much easier to cut a special down now because people are still going to see the rest of it.
I also don't believe there's that many people that can hold you for more than an hour. Like there's Chris Rock,
right.
Chappelle, Bill Burr. I could name less than a dozen people that can legitimately do an hour and 10-minute special that I really want to see. Most people, I think the magic number is 50. Like when I headline, I do 50 minutes.
I wanted to come in at 50 or 55.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do now in my stand-up is come in at 50 and no longer than 55.
Yeah.
So for a little while I was doing an hour 10, hour 12. Mm-hmm. And because I'm not very like precise at all about anything, but I just started to realize like I don't want to be up there that long. They don't want me to be up there that long. And if I'm having fun, again, everybody knows the worst thing that I can do is have them start to be like, how much longer is he going to go?
Yeah. I think people's attention spans are shorter than they were. What is the perfect length of time to make love? You've been with your wife, you've been married 7 years?
Yeah, but we know each other for 20.
For 20. So what's the ideal lovemaking time from foreplay, which I'm assuming you still do, 17 minutes, including foreplay?
No, including foreplay, about 3 hours, 17 minutes.
That's Shakespearean.
Fitzdog. You just got Fitzdog.
And
heart attack.
So walk me through.
I die from saying Fitzdog. You got Fitzdog.
And that's my sting on the show from now on. Is you dying.
You got Fitzdog.
Walk me through the foreplay. 3 hours and 12 minutes. How does it start? Is it on the couch? You're watching TV?
A lot of it is just standing nude, looking into each other's eyes.
Yeah.
For like 45 minutes.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Not on ecstasy.
No.
No.
I mean, we'll stand on it if it's on the floor, but no. We just look into each other's eyes. And then at around 46 minutes, we start to kind of wave air at each other's genitals. Just to get just that.
Because the genitals are moist by then.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Mine is, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Why is mine moist? How did that happen? I'm not even sweating. So you kind of, and you do that for 10, 20 minutes.
Right.
And then we sort of move towards each other so that only our nose and our genitals are touching. Wow. That's it. And then
that means you got to really do a lot of core work and ab stuff so that that doesn't get in the way.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to do. I bind myself like a Japanese princess beforehand. I didn't think I need to mention that.
No, you have Geisha's Rock on your T-shirt.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Yeah.
And so then we kind of do that for a little while, and then what we call the licking begins. Licking, yeah.
Is there a noise? Is there a bell that tells her that licking is about to begin?
Well, we have a young Japanese girl who keeps time because she's there to bind me.
Yes.
And so she said, I'll stick around.
Yeah.
She's blind. So I think it's a
blind bind.
I got to tell you, it's incredibly expensive to have sex for us. That's why we only do it a couple times a day. Yeah. And so, we just start looking, and the lickening is a reckoning of licks.
Yeah.
So it's all over each other, but not the genitals.
Right.
The genitalia stays unlicked.
Right.
And then I'd say the rest of it is just
toss in your first stand-up special.
Yeah, throw that in. Then we watch pornography for about an hour and a half. Uh-huh. And then we actually have penetration and orgasm within about 23 seconds. Look, I do things differently. Greg, you know that.
You should put out
that fits in you right here.
What is the thing that women put out their porn on now?
OnlyFans?
Yeah, you should do an OnlyFans, but include the whole 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
The whole
But premium memberships get the 23-second sex at the end.
Yeah, that's the end of it. That's the money shot.
Yeah.
So they got to pay extra for that, a lot extra.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I think, 17. We time it sometimes. Uh-huh. This is a funny thing. And nobody wants to have sex for an hour or 45 minutes.
I remember being in my 20s and it was like a headlining set. 50 minutes was about right. I can remember 50 minutes. Fitzdog went at it.
50.
I loved it. I love sex. I've loved sex since the second I got my first erection. I was obsessed with sex. I still am, but I'm with you. I don't need it for 50 minutes anymore. I need it for 17.
You got it. And I'm talking about the actual sex. I think with foreplay, if you're smart, you want to do that for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
10 minutes, something like that. But it's tough. As you get older and you're married, both of you are kind of like, let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
We know what we want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's orgasms.
Right.
So you got to kind of make yourself a little bit aware of that. But yeah, the
trips,
the
hotels, there's a lot more foreplay in hotels. There's longer sessions and there's foreplay. That's why it really is important to go away with your wife once in a while. Even if it's just literally, sometimes
Vacation,
we go 30 minutes down the coast and we'll get a hotel on the beach in fucking Laguna.
And
just party, make a mess.
That's great.
Yeah.
Make a mess.
Yes. I want that maid that's a $20 tip for the maid.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be thinking about leaving 30. That's how gross it's got to be when you're Fitz-dogging in Laguna. Oh, yeah. Bow, bow. Bow, bow. Oh, yeah. But so, I mean, the special, having that come after this meeting, and thank God the meeting went well. But the special is sort of us or me kind of saying, like, remember that I do this really well. And I needed something that says, like, every time you see me, it will be different. But I couldn't release like a crowd work special. Like people have done that.
Sure.
So I was just going to do a solid time capsule of the stand-up that I was doing during the pandemic and just hope that people see it and make sure that it's a strong special. And it would have been. But with this, I just think lightning in a bottle, absolutely randomly, like a lottery win. Did I get this guy and interact with him and do all the things that I think show people like, oh, it'd be fun to see him live. I don't know what the hell he would do.
Yeah.
And so that's
because
that's
if
why
you
the
see
special I think is so strong. I hope I hope people feel the same way and share it. But
I think it's super strong. I liked your other special where you poured water all over yourself.
That's
what was that one called?
HBO special, Meticulous.
That was
Ridiculous.
great. I like that one.
Kate, my wife, doesn't.
She doesn't.
She thinks it's too, and I see now what she means, but she thought it was too like heady. It was too like trying to be smart and avant-garde and everything. And that I didn't have enough time to really spend to make that act like great. I disagree. I think it's definitely, now you look at it, but this is how hardcore Kate is, okay? She said, I was like, well, yeah, looking back on it, she's like, no, I thought it was bad at the time. But Michael and I talked about it, and why would we mention anything to you? It's too late. It's already been done. And I was like, that is fucking cold.
Dude, I know about a comic.
Cold ass honk.
Pretty big comic. I'm not going to say who it is. I'll tell you after the show. He just shot a big special. And then he was told by one of the biggest comics in the world to not put it out. And he's not putting it out. He's going to redo it.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
My last special, I did in a theater. See that framed photo on the wall? That's the Tarrytown Music Hall. It was built in 1870.
Where is that?
Tarrytown, New York.
Oh, great.
And so I'm from Tarrytown.
Oh, that's too bad.
I grew up.
I just thought it would be funny to say, oh, great, about the venue. And then when you said you grew up there, I go, oh, that's a shame. God, I'm sorry to hear that.
I thought they closed that.
What a beautiful theater. Oh, what a terrible upbringing.
All you had was the theater. Yeah, everything. If there was nothing playing in the theater, there was nothing to do at all.
Like, one day I'll perform in that theater. So you shot it there.
So I shot it there, and it was a mistake because it's like a 1,600 seat theater. And like you, I did 4 shows, but I'm not really a 6,400 ticket guy in a weekend.
No, yeah.
So I sold out 2 of the shows, and 2 of them were only half filled. And also, I'm not a theater act. I'm used to working clubs. I'm used to like that intimacy, like that immediacy. And so all of a sudden I went from that immediacy to this big balconied theater with a jib crane shooting. And I look at that special now and I go like, you're pushing the whole time. You're not in your rhythm. I wasn't in my rhythm. I was pushing because I felt like I had to put it out to the back.
People still loved it, right?
People loved it. I mean, it's crazy.
Really?
No, I don't know. I don't know how people seem to like it.
I mean, so here's something crazy. I knew that I had to flood the internet with my stand-up because I think the biggest problem in my stand-up career is that people don't know that I'm a stand-up comedian. It's just such a small portion of the people who know me, and are fans of mine. Such a small portion knows that I'm a stand-up comic. I bet you maybe 20%.
Yeah.
Of these people, and the rest of them are like, he's an actor. So a lot of them will be like, oh, that's cool, he's coming through. Yeah, but I don't want to go and just see he's like a terrible comic.
Yeah, because there's a lot of that out there.
There's a lot of that out there, and people know that, And so I just needed to flood the internet with my stand-up. And what I did that I thought was really cool was I said, I've got these 2 specials in me, because I hadn't done a special for like 4 or 5 years or something, or longer, 6 years maybe. And it was it was crazy to do, but I shot this special in Nashville. And then 3 weeks later at Zany's Comedy Club, because I wanted to reflect. I love that. I designed that background with all the fake names.
Oh, that's not the normal background?
No, they're called like Funny Boners and Chuckle Hut.
Yeah. I thought those were great. Because I've never been to that club, and I saw that, and I was like, oh what a cool background. No,
it's always just one. It's just Zany's, but then I replicated the sign and came up with all these.
Oh, that's cool.
Crickets.
Yeah.
And, pun comfortable silences was one. It's like all these fake names for clubs. So I did that in Nashville, and it was very clubby, like you said. And then I went to the Tampa Improv, which is a huge theater over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And shot another special 3 weeks after, a completely different special.
Really?
Can you believe that?
Jesus.
And so
with
I have
different material.
One in the can, a completely different hour.
Okay.
And so now I have one in the can and one that's online, and then I'm going to shoot another special, I think, in March. Not even I think. I'm going to in San Diego.
Wow.
And so I've really got to start working that out, but I kind of know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Sort of have the special. And I think I've come to understand that if you can get something really, really solid and really get a great 45-minute special, 50-minute special, you should shoot it and put it out there. Because the other thing I figured out how to do is to shoot these things for nothing.
Yeah, how many cameras did you use?
6 on the Dear Jonah, 7 plus drones on both of these. 7 cameras.
Drones outside the theater?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't see any exterior shots in the one I saw.
There's
Dear Jonah.
In the very beginning, you see T.J. Miller sold out. All that's a drone shot.
Oh, they didn't send me that in the special they sent me.
Oh, you might have gotten an earlier one.
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly. But, you saw, if you see it again, it's it looks great.
So how much did it cost you to shoot it?
$15,000.
Get the fuck out of here.
Serious.
Really?
Isn't that insane?
Damn.
So
it looks great.
I shot the second one, right away, because I was like, let's get it.
Yeah.
And then I pushed this third one that I'm going to do in San Diego, because I was like, why am I... I'm not going to be able to release this for another year. That's one. So I said I'll shoot it in March, and then, use the ancillary content, sort of tease it, all that stuff. And, so I realized it's time to just get content online so that I get those fans, so that I get people who are like, God, he's a great stand-up comic. Because, it's interesting. The pandemic kind of helped me become more famous, but it has really hurt my ticket sales.
How did it help you become more famous?
Because everybody watched my movies.
Oh, okay.
And Silicon Valley. So everybody was inside, so people who like Silicon Valley watched it a couple of times all the way through. Or up until I left, is what a lot of people say to me. So
you mean when the show got less funny?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they say.
That's what people are saying.
That's the word on the street. And I ain't Fitz-dogging on that one, Daddy.
Silicon Valley?
I wouldn't fit.
You just got Fitzdog in season 4.
Yeah, exactly. So, this special, I think, was really kind of a godsend. Obviously, I don't believe in God, but it's kind of a godsend that this guy was there. We were shooting it, and we got so much of him. Because I had so many cameras, I got all of him.
Yeah.
And if we didn't get all of him, then it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah.
And so that director is really talented too. And he's going to shoot this one in March with me as well.
Well, you got to give me his name because I'm gonna shoot a special, and I want to do it for $15,000 and have it look like that.
Yeah, and it's key, and you have to put these things on YouTube now.
Oh, yeah. So how are you putting it out? It's going to be, all right,
on
YouTube, September 29th it came out. You want to get over 1 million views before 2023. How many do you have now?
I think 120,000.
Okay.
Take a look. You want to look?
Let's take a look right now. There you look. Why do you have 2 cell phones?
One is a personal phone, and the other one is just to be used on Fitzdog radio. Why? Why is that funny?
Does your wife know you have 2 cell phones?
Greg, oh yeah, she's got 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Baba. Oh yeah. What are you seeing? Where did we get to? Is the question, of course.
By the way, the in the special, you in the first 5 minutes, you talk about every Greg needs an egg.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
I fucking love that. I love that.
Do you love eggs?
I love eggs.
Do you think Kate's question is? Do you think you like eggs more than you would because there's an egg in your name?
Without any doubt whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think when you go to Middlesex, you think you're not getting laid in that hotel in
Yes.
England?
What?
It's got sex in it.
I know. Maybe that's a Greg thing.
Yes.
You're like, you gotta like the things that are what they say they are.
Right. Right.
But I mean, a Greg, and I wish that I did this show more because then I would be a Gregular.
Whoa. So every TJ needs a BJ? Has that
I
been
hadn't
said?
thought of it like that. In fact, that has never been
Because I take a BJ over an egg anytime.
I don't know. They don't have the same caloric content.
It's the same, but it has the same visceral kind of
Does, and that's gross and true. You've been Fitz-dogged.
Although
I
I've
love
never
that you said that. I love that you like eggs because that guy he was a Greg, and he goes, he couldn't get anything.
Yeah.
Not even an egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, he didn't say anything else.
This is a good teaser for the special. Watch it, you'll understand what the fuck we're talking about.
Every Greg needs an egg.
Every Greg needs an egg. All right, here's some other things I want to ask you before we get going, because I don't keep my guests for more than an hour. The special is on YouTube. Oh, I thought you were looking it up.
Here, I'll do it.
No, I'll do it. Jesus Christ.
This has just been such a tough ending to this podcast,
Well, I got some special surprises for the end.
Excited about that.
TJ Miller, Dear Jonah, 120,000. So you're up 20,000 since you checked last.
Pretty much, yeah. I looked this morning, but that's still pretty good. I'm just worried that it'll slow. But I did a whole radio tour this morning. I'm doing a radio tour tomorrow.
You're doing...
This is an incredibly important podcast.
The other thing is people probably... Here's what happens a lot, is people grab it and then they put it out themselves. So you've probably got another 50,000 views from other people piggybacking because they want to get views on their channel.
How do you mean? They rip it?
They rip it and they post it on their YouTube channel.
That's a bummer. But it's still the same amount of
Still
people.
eyeballs.
Yeah. And
Sure.
That's what I need. And I need that to translate into tickets.
Yeah.
Ticket sales.
All right, I want to ask
I'm
you.
really hoping everybody check out Dear Jonah on YouTube. I'm on my YouTube channel right now.
Check it out. And then also, I forgot to look up your tour dates. Do you have tour dates coming up?
I do. I've got to be in Washington, D.C., October 20th, 22nd. This upcoming, I don't know, when is this coming out?
Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. I will have already been in Tacoma, Washington.
So why are you plugging it?
I'm not. I just bragging that I've been to the Glass City, Greg. And why don't you go suck an egg,
Wait,
Greg?
Tacoma's the Glass City?
Yeah.
You know what else it is?
Chihuli's from there.
Who?
Exactly. You mean Chihuly.
Chihuly?
He's the most famous glass-blowing artist in the world. Which tells you a little bit about how cultured you are.
I remember staying in the hotel at that club. You'll see it when you're probably staying in the same hotel as me.
Sure.
Maybe you get an upgrade because you're a bigger name than me.
Who knows?
But they've got a beautiful glass blowing exhibit in the hotel.
That's why. And were you worried you'd fall into a coma?
Why?
Because you're in Tacoma. You just got Fitzdog.
I just got Fitzdog.
Sometimes it's just so
shit.
quiet. Sometimes it's so quiet. You just got Fitzdog.
That's the final Fitzdog.
That's the
when
final
they whisper it to
Fitzdog.
you.
That's it.
You're
That's
laying on the ground.
Close the casket. They start throwing the dirt on you to bury you alive. You just got Fitzdog.
Wait, so but you know what else Tacoma invented is Father's Day.
Really?
Yep, looked it up on. Anytime I go to a new city, I look up their city on Wikipedia, and it said that Father's Day was invented there, and I wrote like 5 minutes of Father's Day jokes. I was talking about it's such a great holiday, except if you have a deadbeat dad, then it is a blistering reminder that you're alone. All the other fathers are like playing catch with their son, and they're fishing, and you're just getting high and watching The Outsiders again.
Yeah, The Outsiders is perfect. Electric Boogaloo too.
Like they should have a holiday for people that have deadbeat dads. You know, just call it like Whore Day.
Whore Day. Dadless Day.
Dadless Day.
Hey, happy Dadless Day.
And you're not allowed to hang. If you have a dad, you can't hang out with him on that day.
You can't hang out with him. You refuse to talk to your stepdad.
Yep.
Dadless Day.
That's
Keep
it.
them away. That's on the card. Dadless Day. Keep them away. So yeah, I've already been in Tacoma, but I'm going to be in Louisville, Kentucky the following weekend. And then at a new club. And then I'm going to be at the DC Comedy Loft at the end of October. And then, it goes on and on. So you can find all my
TJMiller.com.
Nope. TJ Miller does not have a website.com is the site.
Yeah.
And not TJ Miller on Twitter and TikTok. And then, of course, Instagram is Teenage Millionaire. But Facebook, and more than that, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can get all that stuff and watch Dear Jonah. But yeah, I love people to come and see me live. And I'm hoping when you see Dear Jonah, you're going to go, okay, this is going to be a wild ride no matter when I see him or where. It's always going to be different.
All right, we end the show with a series of quick questions called the Fitzdog 5.
Okay.
I never named it before, but I just decided we're going to call it the Fitzdog 5.
Really?
Yeah.
And the goal is to answer truthfully and authentically while not getting Fitzdog.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's it.
Good luck with that.
Fitzdog 5. Good luck.
There are two types of people in the world. Go.
People who haven't and people who have gotten Fitzdog. That's true.
I feel sorry for the latter.
I feel sorry for the latter, but sometimes it's good to get Fitzdog.
Have you ever joined any clubs?
Not any that would have me. Woody Allen, Groucho Marx. You both got Fitzdog.
They both got
they got Fitzdog.
You got posthumously Fitzdog.
No, I'm not a big
fraternity. Were you in a fraternity?
Yeah, I was in a fraternity,
yeah, right.
But it was kind of an ironic fraternity.
Yeah.
So we kind of none of the sorority would do mixers with it. It was really just we kind of took over this fraternity that had a house that was off campus.
Yeah.
It was flanked by all campus, but the property was owned sort of by us.
Yeah.
And so we could have parties there.
Yeah.
And so it was very Animal House.
Got it.
Very, very Animal House. And so that was it was kind of ironic. It was a different deal. And then, I'm not a guy who
didn't join the Friars Club in New York.
I still want to.
I love the Friars. I'm a member.
Yeah, really? Can you give me can you vouch for me?
I will absolutely recommend you. You need a sponsor. I'll sponsor you.
Yeah.
Dude, they've got a pool. They got a billiards room.
Yeah.
They've got a great fucking health club.
Yeah,
they got the best steam room in the city.
That's what I heard.
And when you go in there, they give you a locker. You go in the shower. And when you step out of the shower, there's a Polish guy, an old Polish guy, and he takes a towel and he dries your back.
That's not true.
I swear to Christ.
I thought you were going to say, you step out of the shower and there's a Polish guy and he makes fun of your penis.
In his mind, I'm sure
Every
he is.
single
Yeah.
person.
No,
So
but
he
you walk into the steam room. You sit down, and then he comes in with a towel that's been soaked in ice, and he puts it on your head and hands you a glass of water. And then you come out, you hit the shower again. Oh no!
Yeah.
So you hit
Do they have a plunge pool?
no plunge pool.
No, you do a cold shower, same thing.
And then they've got and then outside the health club, they've got like leather lazy boys with a big screen TV, and all the magazines and newspapers are all out there.
That's great.
And it's a chill room. They got a great dining room with Dover sole. Get the Dover sole.
All right,
and then there's the Frank Sinatra room, which is this little bar when you first walk in. That's like the 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock hang.
Do you still? Are you still a member? Do you still pay dues?
I don't pay dues anymore.
Okay.
I haven't gone in years.
Yeah. I'm a member of the. You know what? I am a member of a club.
Right.
I'm a magician member at the Magic Castle.
Are you really?
Yes.
In LA?
Yes.
Wow.
And I still pay the. I still pay my membership dues because when I come here, I think it's really important for me to try as hard as I can to go to the Magic Castle. But after the pitch, we went to the Magic Castle and we watched like 4 shows, and it was just so awesome.
I don't think I've seen a magic show since I was a child.
I'd love you to go with me.
I would love to go.
That would be really funny.
We'll go with our wives.
I like that.
Is she out here?
No. We got to get her out here. But yeah, that would be such a fun double day.
I would love that.
It'd also be fun to be a couple of guys seeing
We
magic.
could do that. I'll go with you. Yeah.
Just a couple of fellas.
Just a couple of fellas watching magic.
Just watching rabbits coming out of hats.
Sure.
It's the married guy strip club now. You know, how long have you been married now?
23 years.
Yeah, you got to go see a magic show.
23 years.
How do you feel about it?
I feel really good. I feel like, you know,
You scored one of the ones.
When all else is going wrong, and you know, in this business, there's times where you look at your career and you really get down on yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I walk in the door and she's there, and none of it matters. I just am the luckiest guy.
Yeah, it's you. That's what I was saying. You got one of the ones.
Yeah, I got one of the ones.
They're out there, and I feel the same way. I mean, it's been.
I could tell because you talk about her like you guys are melded.
Yeah, we're homies.
Yeah.
Ride or die, bitch. Is what she would call herself, and I think that she. Yeah, it's like you want to be with somebody that you don't fight with in a way. First of all, you don't ever want to bring up. Don't bring up past shit. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
You handle it, then it's gone. But if you're with somebody where you say to yourself, if I lost all of this, I would still be so happy. Mm-hmm. And I know also that was the thing, is when this kind of mentally ill person from our past just tried to destroy us. All of that, all of the aftermath, that having the world sort of feeling like they don't really hate you, but feeling like online the entire world hates you and thinks this terrible thing about you that's not true, that would break most people. And it really fucked me up. It fucked with my life. But the whole time I was with Kate, and I remember years of kind of looking over and being like, this is still so awesome. This is so great. We live in New York City. It's you and me. Did you ever think it would be like this in college? And so you got to find one of those. If you get one, you got to get her and hold on to her.
Yeah, yeah. You got to make it a priority. Second, Fitzdog 5. What's your?
I thought that was the third.
Was it the third?
It is.
Oh yeah.
I'd expect you of all people, Fitz, to dog it right.
Greatest comedy performance you ever had?
That I ever did?
Yeah.
God, you know what? I don't know if it's going to be the case, right? We never know if it's going to work out.
Yeah.
It was that pitch. It was the pitch for Take Us to Your Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You work because you worked on it, and then you let it go in the room. That's the thing about a great comedy set is you write, you rewrite, you rehearse, like, you know, in front of crowds, and you get ready. And then there comes that night where you've got all of it up your sleeves, and you're not using it. But it's there. It's there ready for you when you need it.
Preparation.
But then other shit happens that makes it a magic set. And then that stuff up your sleeves finds its way in. 100%. As opposed to it being the material with, oh yeah, and he fucked around with this person a little bit. No, if it's driven by the moment
Yeah.
And then the material just weaves away. That's the best set.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I think that pitch was that, right? That you're on stage and you just let it go. You just do it and you're having fun and they're having fun and all of it. But it could be a huge, I think why I was so proud of that is it was just, they had no idea what the movie was about. I knew that they were looking for a Christmas movie. All these things lined up in so many ways.
Yeah.
Our wives were like, you guys should work together. You should work together. We were like, on what? But I just went in there and I just killed it. And I felt before we went in, I was like, I'm excited for when this will be over and we'll be saying to each other that could not have gone better.
Do you wish you taped it?
When I was done, I was like, why didn't I get that? Why don't I just audio record it?
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And then immediately I was like, it's not for that. That's not what that is.
Right.
It's not really for...
I've got an audio recording I did secretly of a comic who stole from me.
Really?
And I confronted him in the green room, and I knew he was in the green room alone. And so I hit record on my phone. I put it on. I went in and I fucking laid in. I Fitz-dogged him.
You really Fitz-dogged him?
Yeah, I Fitz-dogged him, and I got him stuttering like a fucking lunatic. It's good.
I mean, it's great. It's, but that's almost like evidence. I feel like, would it be fun to be able to put that in a Toshin book if this is a classic or something?
Or on Tosh.0, but it's off the air now.
I miss him.
How do you let that go? How do you let that slip through your fingers?
How do you soldier on?
Yeah. As a network.
He's off the air.
Right.
Unbelievable. I'm upset that you brought it up. But I think that, I don't know. I mean,
what's the Tosh
point?
I
feel like that was the best. And I didn't want to, it was about the story. It wasn't about the physical evidence of it. Right. And I think that was it. But if it works, it'll be like the craziest thing that ever happened to me. So that's why I think what's your best comedic performance?
My best comedic performance. It's funny. I always ask people this question, and I never say it myself.
They never ask you? What great guess.
I know it was. I was at the...
abandoned school, and you were doing a podcast with TJ Miller. Was that it?
It's up there.
It's right up there.
I'm thinking too hard to be funny right now. Oh, I would say I was at the in the original room at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And David Koechner was in the back. And sometimes you're performing for somebody in the back.
Yeah.
And it was one of those sets where I just threw everything out and I just fucked around. I got off stage. I followed an audience member out of the room. I was just out of my mind. And sometimes it's hard because you do that, and in the back of your mind, you're like, tap the brakes, dude, because you can't follow this. What are you going to do next? It's going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
And so it was that point, and I just went, nope, keep your foot on the pedal. Keep pushing. And, you only have to do 15 minutes at the store. So if it was an hour-long set, I would have been in real trouble because there would have been a hangover.
Right.
But instead, I was able to just gun it, and he just was afterwards. He was just like, Jesus Christ, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was crazy.
That's awesome, right? Yeah, you are performing for those people sometimes, and it's not even if they're famous or they can do something for you.
No, it's because you think they're funny.
You respect them so much that the possibility that they would think that was good is just amazing.
Yeah, right.
I had that with Noam and
the Comedy Cellar
in New York a little while ago, and what happened was, this is probably what I would have said before this pitch. Chris Rock bumped me, and he went up and he killed, obviously, and it was amazing. And then I went up after him, and I just was like, I think I just need to talk about the fact that I'm following him right now. And I killed. I just destroyed because I really tapped into people being, I think I wore these glasses. Yeah. So I just got up there and was like, I'm fucked, so I'm just going to be cool about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I saw that Noam was there and then Esty, and you could just see their faces as they were like, I can't believe he's doing this. And
it would be like,
I kept making fun of Kevin Hart for being in, because I was like, at least I didn't need to follow him. And I kept making fun of him for being in Paws of Fury. And people didn't really laugh that hard at that, but they still laughed. And then later I'd find out he's not in Paws of Fury. He's in Pet Squad, DC Pet Squad. So all of them were either like, does he not know what movie Kevin Hart is in? Or they're like, I guess he thinks it's funny to pretend that Kevin Hart is in Paws of Fury. But the next day, Noam emailed me because he didn't work me for a really long time. There's all this drama over there, which I don't even love that club that much. But it's a really important part of being able to do a lot of stand up in New York City. And he emailed me the next morning and was like, I just wanted to tell you that this was, sometimes I'm really proud of owning that club. And last night was one of those nights because of your performance on that stage.
Wow. You just got gnomed.
Yeah. I just got gnome Chomsky. And so, so that was one of those moments for sure.
Yeah.
Where you just have to make it work.
Well, that's a thing about being a pro comic and somebody who's still figuring it out, is that following Chris Rock is a gift.
Can be.
If you use it right. If you can be present and address it and say something like, wow, now I know what Brad Pitt felt like fucking Angelina Jolie after she'd been fucking a guy who had blood in a necklace around his neck. Like, how do I follow that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you get them there, and then you can kind of mess around and do whatever you want. And then also I had a set at the Comic Strip Live on the Upper East Side, and I just absolutely destroyed. And I was like, that's so fun.
Yeah.
And before, Kate had been like, who's that older guy over there? He looks important, or something funny like that. I was like, I don't know him. It was Richie Tinkin.
Oh, the owner.
And so he saw me.
Yeah.
And he came over and he was like, you're really funny. You can work this club whenever you want.
How long ago was this?
Powerful was that. It's when I first moved to New York City.
He just died.
So it would have been, I know. During the pandemic, but not of the pandemic. But that was important.
He was Eddie Murphy's first manager.
That's exactly right. And he basically discovered Chris Rock.
Yeah.
He gave Adam Sandler a lot there.
Yeah.
Seinfeld used to get up there.
Paul Reiser,
And Larry David, all of it. And so, that was really important for me to then suddenly feel like, wow, I'm a Manhattan comic.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted to do in my life.
Well, and that was the club at the time. The Strip was the club
and I
to
think
work.
it still is one of the best clubs.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really important.
All right, last Fitzdog 5 question. Have you ever not finished a set on stage?
Like just walked off? Wow. No, I don't think so. One time I was at the Boy Scouts of America doing some gig, some corporate gig this girl Emily DeRisis had gotten me. And it was so bad. They announced that the buffet was open and then brought me.
Oh.
So everybody stood up. I think it was the dessert actually is being served and just left. And I just bombed for so long and tried to and I think I was supposed to do 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. And I just after 10 minutes, this isn't working.
Yeah.
So I just got off stage and Tammy Pescatelli was like, go back on stage. And I was like, what? She was like, you got to get their attention. I'm not going out there until you go back on stage. So I walked back on stage and just tried to fucking corral them and bomb for another 10 minutes until I sort of looked over at her like, I can't do any better than this. And she kind of looked at me like, all right, then just get the fuck off stage.
Yeah.
But I have a joke right now about how I sang karaoke. I chose the Disney song, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat from the major motion picture, The Aristocats. And my joke is about how you're supposed to have heard the song in karaoke. Not only have I not heard the song, I haven't seen the movie. So I just walked up blind. I definitely didn't know it was an 8-minute song.
Yeah.
And the first 3 minutes is just an instrumental, all musical refrain where I guess the cats are dancing. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Okay. And I talk about how in stand-up it's great because you can leave. You can just say thank you, good night.
Yeah.
That's it. But you can't do that in karaoke. Because then the DJ doesn't know, are you over there? It's just really awkward. Do you know how I know it's awkward? Because I left. And I went down and I sat down and finished my beer with the entire audience while we listened to the instrumental 2-minute ending to Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. And that was really awkward. But I was up there. I'm like, I hate singing this song.
Yeah.
It's not working. I don't know it. It stopped being funny because it's too long. Fuck it. And the DJ didn't cut it.
Yeah.
He just was like, what?
Yeah.
So that's the only performance that I've walked away from.
TJ Miller, you showed up for Fitzdog Radio as you always do. I can remember so many of the appearances you've come on. You came on once and you had just had brain surgery. Yeah. And you came on a month later. Yeah. And you were just, there was something about you that was I think there was something about you that was a little bit off. And then it turned into the funniest podcast we ever had. We just fucking cried. It was at my house up on...
I remember.
Yeah.
The Emmys on the mantle.
The Emmys on the mantle.
We talked about that.
That's right.
You said, well, where else are you going to put them?
Yeah. Here now.
Yeah, of course.
I decided it was too tacky on the mantle.
New mantle.
Yeah. I know. I got shit from too many people about having the Emmys on the mantle. So,
but you were right. I remember thinking like, yeah, where would you put them?
Yeah.
I mean, you got them.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be like, look at me?
That's how I was for a lot of years. And then I was like, nah. All right, listen.
People know that you're a true talent. You don't have to Fitzdog them.
I don't got to Fitzdog you with some metal, some hardware.
Fuck no. No, this is so fun. And I got to tell you, I was so excited for you to watch the special because you're one of those comics that, like, let me put it this way. Of course, I'm excited to hear what Adam Carolla thinks about it. Of course. But he's not a stand-up that I, like, admire, that's been burned into my stand-up experience and career throughout. We always talk about it. I'll never forget when you told Pete Holmes to get the fuck out of the green room at comics. He was being so loud and irritating. It's like a bigger version of me. Kate's always like, he ripped you off, TJ. And he's a friend of me. Stop talking to him. But it was so funny that you were like, hey guys, can you leave? Like, you should leave. This is sort of a
right.
space.
I was headlining comics, and you guys, you guys were all yapping about the business.
And you could tell Pete was like, oh my God, I've committed high treason. And you gave him a look like, yeah, you have. Now get the fuck out of the green room. So it's that. And I've seen you do such amazing sets and stuff. So I was like, I wonder if Greg, what he'll think about it. And it was kind of right on to what I was hoping you would say.
Yeah.
Not what I thought you would say, but I was hoping that you would say what you said, because it is a very present special. And I'm not sure Nate Bargatze ever looks like he's very present in a special.
Interesting.
You know, I think he's an excellent comic. He makes me laugh so much. But I think right now he's the perfect example of what is antithetical to my approach. He's the antithesis of my approach to the actual show, being in the show. And I feel very, very lucky, very blessed by Jesus Christ, my Savior.
Our Savior.
And that he made that possible. You know, I mean, I think that's... And it's Jonah. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm teasing you about the religious stuff right now, but like Jonah and the whale, you know?
Oh, I didn't get the reference.
Well, it's not. His name is Jonah. But why is he named Jonah? You know, there are so many little things lately about my life that would be Jay, this guy I'm writing the Christmas movie with. His house supposedly was the family that introduced like Santa Claus to America.
Really?
They were like Dutch. There's like all these little connections that are so weird. There's aliens in the movie, and we were standing next to some kids, and one of the kids was making weird noise, and she goes, "What are you, aliens?" Well, we love aliens. And Jay and I were like, "What the fuck is going on?" We were walking past Subway to like get some shit from and as we walked outside of the Subway, like the sandwich shop, they were playing Holiday Road. And just minutes before, we were talking about how that's such a great song in a Christmas movie that's an original song. And then there it is.
Damn.
So we've had some fun stuff like that. But it really feels like a gift. And I told Kate that afterwards. I was like, we needed this. So funny. Afterwards, I got into a penthouse because I was like, we're not going to go into some sad hotel room after I finished shooting a special.
In LA.
It was in Nashville. So we need to go so once we finished that show with Jonah in it, we went back to this penthouse and we just fucking partied.
Nice.
I mean, we just went hard like we know how to from college, because both of us agreed. It's like, I needed something like this. I needed something that shows, Kate was like, it shows the shape of your heart. But I did need something that was like, remember, I'm not a fucking monster. I'm not some awful guy. I'm not an asshole like I am portrayed in Silicon Valley or this or that. This is the guy that I am. And I think Dear Jonah does a really good job of doing that. And strangely, for me to come back, if I end up doing this movie and it comes out in 2024 or 2025 or something, you know, it's kind of a sort of me saying to America, like, remember guys, I'm Santa Claus.
Yeah. Right,
okay?
right.
I'm here because I want you to be happy. I want to give you my time. I want people to laugh. I'm like, you know, and so these two projects I think are interesting, because the Philosophy Circus, which is the next special I have that's going to come out next year, that's very cool because it's different because I'm doing some circus in it, and it's just got audience members playing the trombone and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that'll be great. But these two projects, I think, are really, really important. So I'm excited. Thank you for watching it, and I'm so excited that you.
Well, let's get you back when the next one comes out, and and let's go to the Magic Castle.
And then for the movie, I really want to go to the Magic Castle.
Okay, great. All right,
We're gonna
thanks.
pick a date for that right now.
God bless.